this is Rob from Quilting on a Budget, and it's a new year, and today I have been cleaning my sewing room, and it is a disaster getting ready for the new year and all the projects I want to get done this year. But I had all my machines lined up, and I thought I would give you a basic overview of the machines that I own, which are all sewing embroidery machines or computers or whatever they want to call it. And then throughout the year I'm going to give you more in-depth reviews on each one, why you would choose one over the other. So I got the camera turned around and we have here my 4 machines, and I'm going to zoom up closer and give each one of you. The smallest one on the far right is my Bernina 200 with a 730 upgrade. Next is my Bernina 590. Then my Pfaff Creative Sensation and my Janome 12000. I took all the accessory trays off, all the sewing trays, so they're all in their free arms so you can see the basic differences. And I don't have any extra options on any of these machines. So what we'll do is we'll come in here and we'll start with my Bernina 200 with the 730 upgrade. This one was made in 2003, and it is basically a sewing computer with an embroidery. The embroidery is 150 by 400 max, and the 400 millimeter long hoop is an option, so that's an extra. You usually get around 145, 260. I think that's what the Bernina hoop is. And this is front loading bobbin. And these are the little bobbins, little metal bobbins, the front loading. I have 3 bobbin cases for this one. One comes standard. If you're looking at these used, make sure you get the bobbin case, because some of these older bobbin cases can be very expensive. But this is from 2003 with the 730 upgrade, which makes this, it is a tank of the machine, and it is the heaviest machine that I own, and it is the smallest. It has a 7-inch harp, but I mean, it is solid metal. And this one has the needle lever in the back. It also has the Bernina knee lift. And back to the bobbin cases. I have 3 that my dealer adjusted for me. One is for my very thin embroidery thread, which is around 150, 190 weight thread, which is very, very thin. So you get a lot of thread even on a small bobbin, but it's less expensive. And its tension is set to that 150, 190. Then I have a regular tension for 50, 60 weight, and then I have a loose tension one that's for 40, 30 weight thread for when you're quilting or doing bobbin work or things like that. And this does not have any auto tension. It has an old CFD light, but I'm going to tell you, if you can find one of these in good shape, they come out as older than this was a 180, but they also have a 170 and a 165. I had a 165. I sold it and I missed it because this has a 9 millimeter stitch width. My 165 had 5.5. I went back a day later and it was already sold and gone, and I cried in the store because I missed it so much. But this one has Windows CE on it. It's a very old computer, but it's quite unique. It's slow booting up, but it has the options of CD-ROMs and modems and all this. But with the 730 upgrades, you get to use USB sticks. However, it only takes a 256 megabyte USB. And I'm going to jump this one. This is my Bernina 590 because this is my newest machine. I'm going to go to my next oldest machine, which is my Pfaff. This Pfaff came out in 2003, 2004. It is a top-loading bobbin, and it has the famous Pfaff bobbins, and they should have a little P on the top of them. And the reason is that you have a P on them is the top one is just a little bit bigger than the bottom side, so they only fit in your bobbin case one way. So you can never load them incorrectly. This machine also has 9mm, also has sideways motion stitches as the 730. Side motion stitches means it can sew left and right, not just up and down. And this one comes with the famous Pfaff IDT. And this is actually my favorite machine. I grew up using Pfaffs, and the interface to me is the most intuitive. I don't have to think about using this machine. But I want to show you, see where the needle is in relation to this arm? It's about in the middle. See here? But you come to the Bernina one and you see the needle right here is near the front. That's a big thing about vision and things like that. And like I said, I'll go into each one of these individually, but this one also has embroidery. It is 200 by 360 standard hoop, but this also accepts the 360 by 350 Grand Dream hoop, which in the Husqvarna line is the Majestic hoop. This and a Husqvarna Diamond are very, very similar machines. The big difference between this one is it has the Pfaff stitches and the IDT, and that's about it. So, and Bernina is Bernina. Now my next and this one came from about 2003, 2004 was when it was released. And I bought all these machines new. Even the 2003 one, it was new as well as this one. Now my next one is my Janome MC Memory Craft Horizon MC12000. Let's get the name right so you can look. All these, like I said, have knee lift. But if you look here again at the needle, see how far back it is from the big front of this machine? I have a hard time after my stroke with vision issues of sewing a straight line on it. I pull my fabric one way or the other because I don't see a straight line any longer. But this one also has embroidery, and its max hoop is 230 by 300, which 230 is just a little bit over 9 inches, so you can get a perfect 9-inch square. 200 is just a little shy of 8 inches. It's like 7.954, I think. And so it's just shy of 8 inches. And this one has 150, which is just shy of 6 inches, 5.9 something. So you can see the differences, because length in embroidery, unless you're doing towels, table runners, things like that, length really doesn't, because in quilting you're doing squares, so you always think in a square. So this one will actually embroider a 9-inch block, and if you put a little bit of space in it, you come out as a 10-inch square. So, and then with seam allowance, you have a 9.5-inch finished block there. But this one has a little bit bigger plastic bobbins. They're a little bit deeper and wider than the Pfaff one, so they hold quite a bit more thread. Oh, and sorry, back to the Pfaff. The Pfaff has auto tension. You don't need different bobbin cases and things like that. It just fixes itself and it works. This one also has a technology called active stitch, which has, instead of standard tension where it's the disc that put tension on your thread like you're squeezing it tight. This one has active stitch where it has a thread proportional system where if your stitch is 2 millimeters, it will release 2 millimeters of thread and then it makes the stitch. And it does this very, very fast, and it's very, very accurate, which makes this one great for metallic threads because it doesn't stretch the thread as it goes through. But back to this one. This one, I'm sorry, is also 10 inches, 10-inch harp. This one is 11-inch harp, and you see it also has the stainless steel base. This is a higher end machine, but it has less features. This is a quilting machine with a little bit of embroidery. This one also has the cone thread stand on the back. And this also has the AccuFeed Flex, which is the built-in walking foot that is tied to the feed dogs, but it plugs into the back when it's installed. And there's some shortcomings and there's some great things about this machine. That's why we'll get into it. And also, this machine takes the pre-wound paper-backed bobbins as well as the Pfaff. Both of these will take those. And I don't know how they do it, but they get almost twice as much thread on one of these as we do winding them ourselves. So if you're big on embroidery, these are the things. And as you can see, these are Mettler pre-wounds. Amon Mettler, which is my go-to. But these are not inexpensive. They're about €70 a box. But you get like 100 of these. And let me tell you, there's a lot of thread on them. And this one is from 2005, 2006. All was bought new. Now here's the weird thing. I got the 200 free for buying the Janome. So that's my joke, because people talk about how wonderful Bernina is, and my joke is that if they're so great, why did I get a free one? You get what I'm saying. But it is really, really a great machine. Now, let's talk. Like I said, this is an 11-inch harp, 10-inch harp, 7.5-inch harp. Now, this is my new 590. This is brand spanking new. This came out a year or so ago, and I waited basically a year. I bought it a year ago, Christmas. This thing is brand new, high-end technology. It has a new embroidery system. It is 165 by 400, which makes it just shy of 6.5 inch. So you could actually do a 6-inch finished block in the embroidered hoop, which is nice. It also has the stainless steel. This is an 8.5-inch harp, but it's higher. And this has the Bernina dual feed, which is their version copying the famous Pfaff. It is not as accurate and smooth as the Pfaff. Just give you that. But this one for sewing is wonderful because this is the bobbin. This thing is humongous. Embroidering, making lace and things, it holds a lot. I mean, a lot of that 190 weight thread that I use. So you can sew almost all day on one bobbin. But quilting and things, you could get a small baby quilt in 1.5 bobbin of this. And then we go back, it's a front-loading bobbin. And then we look here, you can see the needle. Again, it's in the front. Where the Janome is further in the back, the Pfaff is in the middle. And I find that I sew most often on my Berninas. This is my most used machine, stitch count wise, because I make lace on it. Because it was free, and so I just pound stitches on it. Because one lace design that y'all have seen me make has 60 to 100,000 stitches in it. And it just takes an hour, hour and a half to stitch them out, and you just let this machine go. And if it breaks, I've got my money out of it, but I've talked to my dealer, and we think this one's going to outlive us all. But we go back to this one. This is the new one, and it has everything. It has the black face, which if you know Bernina, if you have a black face, that means it's the top of the line you're getting. So like the 590, the 790 have black faces. The old 780s have a black face. And so when you see a black face one, you know you've got the most features. This one has over almost 700 different stitches. I know I'll never use them, but this is just a good solid machine. I piece on this machine, and the reason I piece on it is because I personally like the smaller size. That's it. Like I said, this is 8.5, 10, 11, 7.5, and it also has the really big bobbin, so you can piece for days. If you put like a 60 weight thread, which I like to use and piece, you can piece for days on this thing. And it just has a lot of nice features, which, like I said, I'm going to go in and discuss. Now, I've had all these out for you because I'm cleaning and reorganizing my machine. It's getting ready. I have a lot of embroidery projects that I'm going to do block based on my Janome because it has the 9-inch block. I have many heirloom designs that I want to work on, and that's the Pfaff because it is just magnificent doing what it does. And it's heirloom stitches like the candle wicking they just make me, oh, they're so beautiful. But the Berninas have beautiful satin stitches and can do some amazing things, and it's fantastic. The Janome has the most perfect straight stitch. These are little things that they do. I also have the multi-thread stand for this one, but it just clips onto the back, so this one just came. All these have been serviced and are ready to go. This one the Pfaff just came back from the dealer and just had service oiling. And all my machines go once a year because I use all my machines. And that's why I said over the year we will go through. And one of the things, all these machines have the basic quilter features: needle up, down, knee lift, speed control, all that. And they're the thing. The new Bernina, the Pfaff, and the Janome all have a feature called pivot or hover, and that way you don't have to use the knee lift. The foot, when you stop sewing with the needle down, the foot pops up maybe a millimeter so you can maneuver your fabric and continue on. But as I said, throughout the year, I'm going to be making individual machines and talking videos about each machine and discuss their interfaces, their pros and cons, and all the things of why you would look for one of these machines or choose these machines. Does not necessarily you need to buy this specific machine, but Bernina, basically, the 570 is the same as this 590, except it loses a lot of embroidery features and about 150 stitches. Which, let me tell you, when you're in the 700 range, you're not even going to get close to using all the stitches. And the same with the Pfaff. Before the Pfaff Creative Sensation, I had a Performance 5. That machine I also missed, but I did not go back to buy it back because this machine does everything the Performance 5, plus it adds embroidery. And I embroider more than I sew, so that's why all my machines are embroidery capable. And they have their pros and cons, like I said. No machine is better than another. It is based on how you sew, what you sew, when you sew, what fabric you use to sew that will make the perfect machine for you. Like I've said many times in the group, there are machines out there. I know people who can outsew us all on a straight stitch treadle, and I know people with $30,000 brothers that don't even know how to use them. So let me sign this off, and this gives you a basic overview, and we will break down in the next few weeks each machine. Probably going to do the Janome first because I have several projects for it. So we will talk to you later, and hope you're having a great and successful new year.